Today we're talking to Kathleen Harris, director of an amazing documentary film called Birdsong. It follows Sean Ronayne on his mission to record all of the birds in Ireland. Kathleen's talking to us from the west coast of Ireland today. Kathleen, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. We're thrilled. It's gotten a really good response. We've been really delighted, very grateful for the reaction we've gotten to it. It aired in Ireland last May, and it had a bit of a moment here, which was so nice to see. Sean just has such a he just has such a way of meeting people, of bringing them in with his passion, and he talks about the natural world with such a, he is a scientist, but he speaks in a very accessible way, a very poetic way. He really kind of brings things to life for people. So, and people have really responded to him, and we're so thrilled that was the case here in Ireland and also abroad. So, yeah, no, we've been really delighted with the response.
Yeah, fantastic. I have to say, some of the scenes, particularly the murmurations at the end, were the finest I've ever seen of such things. You must be very proud of all of that as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the murmuration, that was a scene that I had in my head. So the murmuration wasn't on Sean's list. Like, he had a list of all the birds that he wanted to record. That wasn't on it. But I was like, this is a film so about sound, but I want to make sure that we do have something visually spectacular in there as well. So from the very beginning, I really wanted to have a murmuration in it. And not just to have a murmuration in it, but to have Sean in the murmuration, ha have Sean observing the murmuration. It's something that I really wanted to capture with it was not just to show the natural world, but show our relationship to it and show the joy and the awe that it inspires in people. So that scene, it was the first thing we shot. It was the scene I had most clear in my head, and it worked out exactly as we hoped it would. It was also something, we planned out very carefully. We did a few reconnaissance trips out to Loch Ennell in Westmeath, where that takes place. We got in touch with a photographer out there called James Crombie, who's an expert on starling murmurations. He has studied them out there on that lake, and he knew exactly what they were going to do and when they were going to do it. So we had his amazing intel to rely on, and sure enough, uh, we kind of had one shot at it in the end because any day then the birds were going to move off. We were coming to the end of their wintering period. So if we were like, oh, if we don't get this today or maybe tomorrow, then that'll be it for another year. And luckily, it went perfectly. We were delighted with how it went, and we were Sean and Albert, who were there with us to witness it on camera, were just blown away by it as well. They got a beautiful sound recording, not only of the calls, but of the wing movements and of all the birds moving together. It's quite an incredible sound. We were really blown away by the power of the sound of those birds moving above us.
From the viewer's point of view, it was literally immersive. I found myself ducking as they came over. It was incredible.
Yes, definitely. It was quite a day. Like, it was such a, going out there, we took a long time to set up and to make sure everybody was in position. And then it kind of happened so fast. And then when it was over, we were all like, that was amazing. And we packed up. We're like, okay, let's get some food. We ended up going to dinner in a nice restaurant covered in bird poo. We kind of
I found myself saying in that scene, this is where the film has to end. It can't get any better. And lo and behold, that's where you chose to end it. So just talk me through briefly how you turned these amazing clips and sounds into a story, which is so coherent. It just works like magic.
Yeah, and that's in large part thanks to our amazing editor, Isolt Howlett. The two of us we worked together on kind of crafting it into something, I suppose. And she had some wonderful ideas for the film that really helped bring all of these scenes together because sometimes we would go out filming and we didn't know what we were going to get really, and you're under tight scheduling to get these things. You never know what wildlife is going to do. And yeah, we kind of split up what was on Sean's list. Like, he had a long list of things he still wanted to get. And so I had a look at that with him and decided, okay, what let's get a good balance of birds that we're likely to see visuals of, birds that are rare and have can give us some insight into Ireland's biodiversity crisis. So the ring ouzel, for example, we there's only two of those we believe to still exist in Ireland. So that was something I really wanted to try to get If we couldn't get it on camera, then at least the call of. So yeah, we try to get a good mix of things, birds that people would remember from their childhoods or would kind of have an emotional connection to. Curlew is one that people mention quite regularly, although we don't see it in camera. We do have like a little nod to it. The puffins as well. So yeah, we wanted a really good mix of places and species, visuals as well as sound. Sound always being kind of at the focus of it. I actually said to our DP that I didn't mind if we didn't really see a whole lot of birds, because it was so focused on sound. And he kind of was like, well, it's a film about birds, so we need to get some birds on it. So between all of us, we kind of tried to do, and he was right, so between all of us, it was such a great team of people, and we all brought our own ideas to it and were able to just work with Sean. He was such a collaborator as well, such an amazing collaborator with great ideas. And we always knew we wanted it to be a film that told his personal story, his relationship with the natural world. Wanted to be informative, give these interesting little anecdotes about birds and wildlife, as well as be able to tap into some of the more dire aspects, I suppose, of it. To talk about biodiversity and talk about habitat loss and environmental damage and degradation. But we didn't want it to be a story that focused on that. We wanted it to ultimately be a film that inspires joy. And we wanted to end on the murmuration because there's Sean is not a twitcher. He's not someone who has a list. I know that we're following a list of birds, but it was more of a poetic record of birds that we wanted to capture. It wasn't some box checking exercise that Sean was trying to get through. And he doesn't finish the list by the end of the film. And that's okay. He's continuing that search and that process of recording the birds. We didn't want it to end uh we with Sean kind of okay, that's it, that's it done, that's it over. We wanted to end on the murmuration of this moment of just joy and celebration and just spectacle and wonder, and um make it clear that this is something that is going to go on, and not something that is just to check off of a list, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah. Who was the prime mover? Obviously, Sean has his mission, but how did you get pulled into the project then?
Well, the project came from me actually.
Ah, right.
So I before moving in, yeah, so before becoming a documentary filmmaker full time, I suppose, I worked as a video journalist for the Irish Times for many years in Dublin. And one of the assignments that I was sent on for that project, my editor at the time spotted a tweet that Sean had posted online. He had said that kind of in his spare time, he was a bird surveyor, but in his spare time, he posted sounds and recorded sounds and an interest in sound. And he wanted to do this personal project where he recorded the call of every bird species in Ireland. So we saw that tweet and we thought that sounded a bit interesting. So I contacted Sean to do a short video for our newspaper, for online with us about his work, about what he was doing. And he said, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to be in Killarney National Park at dawn this Thursday. You can come meet me there. There was a woodpecker there. And he'd heard that there was a woodpecker there. So he really wanted to record it. He didn't have a recording of it yet. So I spent the day with him in that park. We did find the woodpecker. It's a scene in the film.
Right.
And that's the first day. Yeah, that's the first stuff I ever filmed with Sean. That's the first scene I ever filmed with him. It did make it into the bigger film. And that day I asked him, do you think you'd be interested in doing a bigger project with me, kind of independent of my work at the Times? I just, he was telling me we just really got on. We had a lot in common, and I loved the sound of his project. It is a quest. It's kind of got a built-in narrative into it.
Yeah.
And he was just someone who immediately struck me. I'm always looking for stories about the natural world, inspiring stories in particular about the natural world. And Sean he just instantly struck me as someone who would be great on camera, who would be great as a guide, I suppose, through the kinds of things I was interested in talking about. And he was open to it, and he said yes, and we kind of took it from there. And I eventually left my job in the newspaper off the back of this project, kind of hoping to get it done.
You were obviously successful in raising sufficient funds to do a good job. I see there were some credits. I mean, where did the funding come from?
Yes, it came from Commission Naman, which is the Irish Film Board. No, the Broadcasting Authority. The Irish Broadcasting Authority is now Commission Naman. So they had actually the timing worked out. They had a climate specific round of funding. They were looking for climate stories. So we applied to them for funding. You have to have a broadcaster committed to the project for that. We went to RTE, so Ireland's public service broadcaster. They put in some of the money as well. So between RTE and Commission Naman, we were able to fund the project. And I had a great producer on board, Ross Whitaker, who's, I was new to it.
Yeah.
Ross is established here in Ireland. He kind of knows the layout of the land, and having his skills and his person attached to the project was hugely beneficial as well.
Moving forward, what projects has Kathleen got lined up next?
Too many, too many projects.
The downside of success is that everybody's offering you projects now.
Well, we are hoping we have just secured development funding for another project with Sean. So yeah, so we're really hoping to get that going in the coming year. It's for a feature length film. Again with him and with Alba and with their new daughter. They had a baby recently. So yeah, that project. And then we also have a feature work that we're working on at the moment about three women in Ireland who run an animal rescue center.
I helped to run an organisation called the Society of Environmental Authors and Journalists, and it may well be that you would find some benefit of allying with us to get a reach through the membership and indeed to get other people doing pitches if you're ever interested in that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Have a look at environmentalwriters.org. I mean, we just like to reach out to people like yourselves, anybody with interesting stories and projects, and just it's a community of people with similar interests. Do you see your role in the future being that sort of focal director role, or will you dabble in all kinds of other aspects of film production?
I mean, gosh, I mean, working in independent documentary, you tend to dabble in all the different parts anyway, really. I do a bit of editing and producing and yeah, lots of different things. And for different people, we have a little filmmaking team, I suppose, here in Dublin. There's three of us and we kind of help each other out on our various projects.
Yeah.
And that's been great. But yeah, I definitely want to keep directing. That would be my if I could keep just doing one thing, that would be it. Yeah, I enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, I think the intersection of storytelling, film, and the natural world is just a passion that is crying out for being involved with, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I hope I get to do more of it because, yeah, that mix of human story with the natural world is kind of where I'd like to be the most, I suppose.
And I think you have a bit of an advantage in Ireland. Probably you're closer to some of the other sources of funding, team members, and so on. And of course, you have incredible scenery on your doorstep, which does help a bit.
Oh, for sure, for sure. No, there is lots of opportunity here, and there's such a supportive filmmaking community. Everyone, yeah, it's just a nice atmosphere here, I think, among filmmakers, and there are opportunities. Yeah.
Fantastic. Kathleen, thanks so much for joining me
Thank
and telling
you.
me your story.
Thank you. Take care, Steve. Bye bye.
I'm going to leave you now with a clip from Birdsong with Sean and the incredible murmurations.